right, so you've got a new book coming out.
Yes, sir.
The Game is Not a Game. Then the subtitle is The Power of Protest and Politics of American Sports. It's coming out in March, I believe.
Yes.
This is an advanced copy.
Woo!
Yeah.
Which I could tell you, and not to embarrass you, but your other half, your better half, her blurb, is right prominently.
Nice.
Yes, very prominent on the big paragraph on the back of the book.
That's very exciting. And it's alongside a lot of really noteworthy folks. Who else have blurbs on the new? Who else has blurbs on the new book?
Michael Eric Dyson, Stephen A. Smith, Dave Zirin. Who am I missing? I'm missing somebody.
Who's the first one?
Sarah Spain. Huh?
Who's the first person?
Michael Eric Dyson.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's some old NBA players too, right?
No, but they didn't get. Of course, you're dealing with athletes. They didn't get them in time, so. It's supposed to be Magic Johnson, Charles Barkley, Michael Jordan.
I've heard of all.
They didn't make the cut.
They didn't get those in time.
No, Allen Iverson.
Iverson didn't turn. He missed his deadline.
Well, that's kind of on me, because when I found out we couldn't do it immediately, I'm like, oh, if it's not happening right now in this moment, then it's not going to happen in time to get it to the publisher. And more important than all the people I just mentioned is World Wide West. If you know who World Wide West is. Oh
yeah, for sure.
Wes is like, I've never done anything like this before in my life, but I'll do it for you.
That's pretty cool.
He said, holler at me at the beginning of the year. I'm like, okay, cool. And I was like, you know what? I should scrap everybody's blurb and just put him on. Because if you see World Wide West's name on a book, it's like.
I know who World Wide West is, but for the people at home who don't, why don't you just tell them?
Nope. You're on your own.
Google it.
Sure.
Okay.
You're not getting it from me, right? Google it. I've gotten in enough trouble, by mentioning his name.
I've not read all of it yet. I did read through a significant amount of it to prepare for this interview. And since protest is in the title, you do talk about Colin Kaepernick quite a bit. Mm-hmm. I think that's a brilliant marketing strategy, if nothing else.
Okay.
Because people who support Kaepernick are going to buy the book to read it.
Right.
And people who hate on Kaepernick are going to buy the book to burn it.
Well,
was that? Did you think like now everyone's going to buy the book because of this?
Well, no, I didn't think that way. I thought that my approach to the book was looking at topical subject matters and finding a way that if I was going to do columns on them, how can I flush those columns into chapters?
Right.
So it wasn't about like the polarization of Colin Kaepernick. I said, who's relevant right now that's worthy of doing a chapter that I can research and do something and say something comprehensive that hasn't been said. And in the moment, it was Colin, LeBron James, and LeVar Ball. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so I wasn't looking at the fact that, all right, people are going to hate this book and hate that they see that Colin Kaepernick's in it and burn the book. That would be jacked up because the book's not all about him. Now, if you want to rip out that chapter and burn it, cool, I'm good.
He's sprinkled throughout,
He's sprinkled throughout, but LeBron James is sprinkled throughout.
Right, of course.
Serena Williams is sprinkled throughout the book. So I'm like, if they're gonna nitpick because they hate his name that much and what he represents, fine. I mean, Donald Trump's name is sprinkled throughout the book.
That's true too.
So now, if we go on that route, if we're worried about people burning the book because the name's sprinkled out, and it's burning because of Colin Kaepernick, it's gonna get burnt because of Donald Trump at the same time.
And that's why they have so many wildfires in Australia right now. So.
Because of the book.
Because of the book, people are burning bricks these days.
Well, if I get the sale first, then good. I don't, So yeah, but you see what I'm saying about like you can rip out the chapters and burn the chapters and like say.
I don't want anyone to burn the book, but
I know, but I mean, hey, look. In real honesty, I've had that happen to me. Not books, but magazines. Eminem and Dr. Dre were really pissed about something I wrote in XXL back in the day, and they went on stage and started burning.
On stage.
On stage, burning.
What did you write?
Magazine. I don't want to get to that long story. It wasn't anything negative, but it wasn't anything glorifying either. Like Eminem, it was he had just dropped Slim Shady. He had been doing this thing in Detroit and Michigan and had the underground swell. But Slim Shady came out and MTV picked it up immediately and kind of blew it up. And we asked for Eminem to be in the issue. And he didn't. His people said that he didn't have time to get with us before we went to print.
Uh-huh. So it's kind of a no comment.
Yeah, but no, he was like, we can't get it in this time. So, okay, we'll maybe save it for next issue, whatever. But this before the song blew up. The song blew up. They were like, hey, we'd love to get him in the magazine, and can he get the cover? We're like, no, the magazine's already, we're looking at the blue lines now, it's already gone. So they were pissed.
Right.
You know, they're like, all right, you know, you all should stop the world. And like, no, we can't put a whole magazine on hold. This is dealing with XXL. You can't put a whole magazine on hold just because, you know, he's the hot shit, you know, maybe next issue, whatever. And we were only coming out 5 times a year, so it would be a couple months before it happened.
Right.
So they didn't want to strike while the iron was hot. And when we didn't do it, and they got pissed, the publisher was like, you know what? Fuck them. I'm holding up the book. We're going to write a story about his ass in the book. So we did a story basically saying that he is ridiculously dope, but his popularity, the reason he got MTV, the reason he's getting out is because he's white.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
And we started naming all these other artists that came out, black MCs that were just as dope as he was coming out and didn't get any of this shit.
Right.
So
then they lit the magazine on fire.
Oh
on
yeah, they
stage.
read that shit and they were pissed. They're like, you know.
Thankfully,
on
that
stage.
was like before Twitter and stuff, because otherwise people would have been blowing you up.
Maybe, probably so. It's cool. It would have been a thing. But my thing about situations like that, and the same thing you said about the book, is that if you're consistent in what you do, then you can override any of that shit. So if the magazine is good, if we do good work, that would just be a moment. And it may be a trending moment. It may be a reoccurring trending moment. Who knows? It may be something that's like stigmatized with the magazine, but it shouldn't be strong enough to shut you down.
Right.
Or make people not deal with the product that
Because
you're putting out.
the
If your
overall
product is good, there it is. And same thing, if people don't like the Colin Kaepernick chapter in there, cool. The rest of the book, they're like, okay, I'm good with that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Have you crossed paths with Dr. Dre and Eminem at all?
No, not since then, not at all. Not at all.
Nor have I.
Good.
You and I have that in common
You're good.
then.
You're
Yeah.
good.
You, if I remember correctly, you worked on the Kaepernick Nike campaign,
Yes, I did.
and that sparked a lot of angry white people to like burn their old Nike stuff.
shoes.
Or their New Balances that they thought were Nikes because they had an N on them, but then they burned those instead. There were videos out there of people burning their New Balances.
I thought they were burning for a whole nother reason. I didn't know that one. That's a
What was the reason they would have been burning their New Balances?
For some reason, I read a story that the narrative that was being told was that those New Balance was associated with white supremacists for some reason.
Oh.
No,
Yeah.
it was
Nothing
definitely
was-
this was the Nike thing.
Nothing would surprise me.
Right. So I'm like, okay.
But so
And I'm like, Kawhi Leonard looks like a really dope white supremacist. I like that. You know?
So, I mean, I think that campaign was great, and it did wonderful results for Nike, but then it got these people to burn their old Nike stuff, and I think if someone, you know, is online or they go to the store and they see new Nike stuff, they're kind of like, well, I burned my old crappy Nike shoes, and yeah, I'm a little angry about the Kaepernick stuff, but I'm gonna go buy.
Yeah, because they're like, that shit is hot. I need to have
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But
So-
it goes to my point about you can override those situations if you still
Right.
put out dope stuff.
So,
We got to start making products that people want to burn. Maybe we should try to think about what way we can do that.
all right, I'm down for that. I'm assuming that overall, as far as you know, the people associated with Nike that you work with on a campaign were probably pretty happy with the result despite the backlash.
Yeah, and what it wound up doing over the course of time. You know, that was an immediate reaction. But then if you look like 6 months down the line, stock rises and, you know, they're able to still have an enormous presence in not only advertising and marketing, but in, you know, sports apparel and in the business of sports. So, you know, that hit that they took from in that moment didn't affect them at all. And I've been with Nike and worked with Nike for a long time. And they're not afraid to go out there and take risks.
Right.
And take stances and be comfortable with those stances and understand we did this for a reason. They don't do anything in a knee-jerk manner. Everything they do is very, very measured. So I'm pretty sure they were ready for the backlash, whatever it is, but
They weren't surprised. They weren't surprised by it.
we'd rather take the backlash than be silent.
If Nike is such a great company, though, then how come when I wear their shoes to play basketball, I still can't dunk?
That's a good question. Now here's the deal. What Nikes are you playing in? See, that's why they have so many different styles.
Remember,
Maybe I'm going in the wrong ones. Yeah.
when I was a kid, remember LA Gear had catapults?
Yeah.
Remember that? They were Karl Malone sponsored shoes. Karl Malone played for Utah Jazz. Yeah. He's too young. He doesn't get any of this stuff. But they supposedly would help you get it, which was bunk, right? But
I mean, technology, well, and Nike wound up taking some of that, having the shock system that were in their shoes. You know, and of course you got Vince Carter in the ad campaign to sell you, and he's jumping over people so you think
Yeah,
you can do
I'd
that.
buy that shoe, yeah.
Right.
Vince Carter can dunk on like a 12-foot rim.
I know, exactly. So, you know, but he's, you know, it's
Barefoot.
Over an 8-foot, like, Serbian dude. Yeah.
But once again, you put that concept along with something that may or may not work scientifically. We do not know. But then you put a tagline along with it. Is it the shoes? It all ties into the consumer. It's like, it might be.
Right.
So you get that, and you see the end result. It doesn't happen. But they do have Nikes for you.
Yeah.
Not to dunk, but it might.
Right.
And,
to shoot a nice, calm, and collected jump shot. And
Right.
Or to look nice when he's going out for drinks with friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can always look fly.
Yeah.
We need to check what Woody Harrelson was wearing in the movie.
I was just gonna say.
There you go. Right. Exactly.
It's a good movie, which I have seen, by the way.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
Now, you sure they weren't New Balances that you're wearing?
I think, I'm positive.
sure?
Yeah,
You're
I'm
positive?
sure.
All
I'm
right,
sure.
cool.
Right now, I'm wearing Tim's, but I
When
think
you're playing,
when
you
I'm
sure they're not New
those
Balances.
Those are
Okay.
Nikes. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm wearing my.
I've already burned my New
You
Balances.
came
yeah.
with the weapons, man. Those are legendary. Those are classic.
Yeah, I got these on eBay for like $25.
My man.
They're cleaned up.
Yeah.
Don't ever say that again out loud.
Back to the Kaepernick thing. So his shoes came out a little bit ago,
Right.
and sold out
Yeah,
basically
actually,
immediately. Did you get a pair?
No, I haven't been gifted a pair yet.
Okay, because
But you have to understand, the shoe that they put it on, it's a Nike Air Force One, and those are the biggest, easiest selling shoes that Nike's ever done in the history of their campaign. So it was an easy win.
right. But I mean, they're cool. They got his
silhouette in the back. Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, it looks great.
That's dope.
But they're sold out,
Right.
and I was doing some research. You can get them on StockX for like $250 or something like that, $250, and like
The upsell.
yeah.
Yeah.
So can you help me get a pair?
I got you.
Okay. How are we gonna do that?
Don't worry about it.
Just don't.
I got people.
Can we call Colin directly?
Nah, you gotta go hire in Colin to get that.
I hired Colin
I got you.
to get his shoes.
I got you. Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Just because your name is on the shoe don't mean you run shit.
What's like kind of if people like shoes but aren't really into it, but want to be, what's your advice for like where to start? What's kind of a good gateway shoe?
I just mentioned one, Nike Air Force One, and then there's the Adidas Superstar. You're good to go with either one of those. They used to be performance shoes back in the day, but now they've become lifestyle shoes, and they're so clean, they're so iconic, they're so classic. You could do anything in them and still be cool. And if you wanted to and had to, in the middle of nowhere, have to play ball or hoop or do something athletic, they can still function.
So Air Force Ones and Adidas
Superstars.
Shell
Shell toes. You know the shell toes.
shell toes.
Shell toes.
Okay.
You're all good. Those two, you're good to go.
What are you wearing right now?
Air Force Ones.
All right, there you go. Have you ever thought about why we call them sneakers in the first place?
Yeah, they're being a quote unquote sneaker historian. And when you write books about sneakers, you kind of got to do the research.
All right.
No, it really back. I think it was. I can't give you the exact year. It was in the late 1800s when tennis shoes started to become popular. They gave them the name sneakers because they made less noise than dress shoes.
Oh, okay.
So you could sneak up on people.
Okay.
That's real. That's not a joke.
That's late 1800s.
Late 1800s, yeah.
Would you say sneaker historian? Sneaker historian?
Sneaker
historian.
historian. Yeah, I could consider myself a little bit of that. Yeah.
Well, you just quoted something about shoes from the 1800s, so
Yeah, but I mean, well, look, when Nike commissions you to write a book, you kind of got to do a little bit of research to make sure you know what the fuck you're talking about.
For sure. I haven't watched a ton of basketball so far this year,
Okay.
but I have noticed that there's a lot of instances where players are wearing shoes that don't match.
Yeah.
Like I've seen like guys wearing like a fluorescent pink shoe and a fluorescent yellow shoe.
Yeah.
Do you have any? What's going on with that?
Two things. One, the NBA finally dropped the uniformity rule. That means everything had to kind of at least connect color-wise with what you were wearing with your uniform.
Yeah. I mean, because you didn't see even like a fluorescent pink shoe all that long ago.
No. I mean, they were trying to, back in the day, get uniforms to match the style of shoes and the colorway of shoes that the players wanted to wear. But once they dropped it, they kind of opened up the floodgate for almost anything to happen. Now all the shoes are looking like Skittles.
Right.
They're all over the place. But the mismatch situation that you talk about, where even the shoes, they can be designed in such where they're not mismatched. You can get like that's the way they come, like boxed in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I assumed they had to buy two.
No. Nike started this thing called the What Ifs a few years ago, and once they do a silhouette of a shoe once a year in a crazy, only one-off colorway, and usually there are two different but complementary colors.
Okay.
You know, there's a hint of each color in each shoe. You'll know that there's a connectivity to it, but there's still two different base colors. So they started that, and the whole history behind wearing mismatch is it was supposed to be a symbol of a star. Like back in the day when we were coming up playing basketball, if a guy came on the court and he had mismatched seasons, he was like, oh, he a superstar.
Really?
Yeah, seriously. So you had that was the thing. If you were that dude, that was you were a sign of a star. So, I don't know if it's carry over to this generation. This is why I'm doing it, but historically, playing ball in the street, that's what it was. Sign of a star. We had mismatched shoes.
Hey, well, I know what I need to start doing then. Okay, good.
Mismatch.
Get Tim's and some other
Skechers. There you go.
Yeah.
Skechers.
Yeah.
His New Balances. If someone's like, what's the craziest story about your time at Slam?
The craziest story, if you just had to pick one story, out of all the time at Slam there, probably was that we did a photo in the 1996 draft class. Stephon Marbury, Antoine Walker, Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, Steve Nash, and we lined them up. We were in Orlando for the rookie orientation, and we had them all lined up off a brick wall, and the title was "Ready or Not" over the whole Fuji's Lauryn Hill thing, and it became kind of iconic as far as like Sam Cover because it was a gatefold, and Allen Iverson wasn't there for the photo shoot, but it's the greatest story to me of our time at Slam because we did it behind the NBA's back.
They had no idea.
We were on some guerrilla warfare shit as far as photography, and used the NBA photographers to do it without the NBA, because the NBA photographers loved us because they would do all the shoots they would do. They either get picked up in the NBA magazines or picked up in Sports Illustrated or Sporting, whatever. They were all they weren't exciting. With us, we wanted action shots and we wanted full shots, and we wanted to really take that game and give you a feel from a photographic standpoint that you were there. So we wanted different shots, and that's what they love to shoot. So over the course of our first couple of years at Slam, the NBA photographers loved letting us into the studio and picking shit, because we would pick the shit that they like. Mm-hmm. So when it came down to that 96 cover, we had to strategize. And they were look, the NBA, they're on some side chick shit with us too. They're nobody can know, David Stern can't know, Adam Silver can't, nobody can know you all are here. We had to register in the hotel that the players were staying at in different names.
This was just to get your cover shot.
And here's the deal. They said, tell us the players you want. We had to map out exactly how we wanted this to go. They said, give us the players we want and we'll send them to you. We gave them the names of the players we wanted for the cover. We sat at the bar, Don Morris, Tony Givino, and I, and mapped out exactly how we were going to shoot this, because they told us, you all have 6 minutes. 12 players, 6 minutes.
And not just any players,
no.
All first-round draft picks.
All first-round draft picks. So we had to line. So when they came out, we had to know exactly, you there, stand here, and
the players knew what was going on too? They knew it was going to be for Slam?
They knew, they knew it was going to be for Slam. They knew it was Slam. And Don Morris took the shot, and the NBA photographer, I'm not going to say his name because he's head of NBA photography. But
well, you just said his position.
So I don't know if he may be emeritus now. I don't know what he's doing, but whatever.
He's high ranking.
I'll say, no. Carmen Romanelli was like, okay, hurry up, do this. I was out there with a water bottle, spraying the players down so it looked like they were sweating. We're trying to get it. We're doing all this shit. And it's if you know how hard it is to take a picture with multiple people and somebody's eyes are not closed, somebody's head's the right way, all this stuff, 6 minutes. We got, I think, 4 shots. And Don nailed it, I think, on the 3rd one, maybe. But it was all right, look here, do this. And Kobe had a broken arm. So his arm was in a cast. So we didn't think about that when we were mapping it out. So in the middle of trying to get all these pictures, okay, we got to hide Kobe's arm. Kobe, duck your arm behind here. We're trying to do all of this shit in literally 6 minutes with 12 people and get it done. And Carmen Romanelli is oh, motherfucker, better hurry up. Let's, and we got the shit. I don't know how we got 1 shot in all of that shit in 6 minutes, and they all went, and it wound up working.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's probably
and
the
any idea how the NBA felt once they came out? Did they know you were using their photographers?
Well, we credited, I think Don took the shot, but Carmen Romanelli helped set it up, and I think he may have, I forgot how it worked, but we hid Carmen's name. We put the creative director of the magazine up front and gave him credit. Carmen didn't care. He was good.
He wasn't about credit?
Nah, at that point, no. When you're that good, Carmen's no. And then we I think they wound up understanding that it's better to work with us than to work against us.
Right.
And Slam actually started taking money from the NBA in their magazines because Nike thought we were the cooler, shoe companies thought we were the cooler brand. So while they were used to advertise, like, say, take $5,000 in this issue, they were like, okay, and we're doing $2,000 with you, and they do $5,000 with us. And they're like, oh shit. So the NBA, I think over the years, realized, you know what? Why fight these guys?
Yeah, they embraced it.
Yeah, they embraced it.
Because it was constructive. It was about the culture. There was nothing.
Right, exactly. And hey man, change is not easy. Change is not hard. And it's, when you realize there's a big enough pie for everybody to successfully exist, then you stop looking at other things as competitors. And I think it took the NBA a while to look at us as non-competitors. And God rest in peace to David Stern, but we weren't necessarily David Stern's cup of tea. That's not how he likes to roll. He's very, very corporate.
Right.
We weren't corporate. But just as the NBA was changing and the players were changing and styles were changing, it took him as commissioner a while to turn around to that because he was very successful at being corporate. And that's fine. So we were just an uncorporate entity in the business at that time. And it just took a while to accept. But the NBA photographers knew that from the very beginning and they loved it. So it made it easier for us to get in.
And it seems like Slam's still doing pretty well.
Yeah,
they have a huge social presence.
Yeah, they're doing well.
I mean, not every magazine can say that.
No, not every magazine. And
most can't.
Most can't. You look. Magazines. They. What is the rate? They say 600 magazines globally are launched every year, and like a little under 2% last for over a year.
It's like marriage.
Yeah.
NBA All-Star Game is coming to Chicago. Mm-hmm. What do you have planned?
Working. I work the whole time. Every All-Star game I work.
Can we tag along?
Yeah. I ain't paying you shit, but yeah, you
I don't
tag
want
along.
money. I just want the experiences.
All right, cool.
I want money, but I'll take the experience too.
Hey.
There's been a lot of headlines lately that NBA ratings are down this year. Mm-hmm. What needs to happen to fix that? In 3 words or less.
Yeah. Not as many players need to get healthy. That's one. And I think players need to be healthy. That's all. I think players need to be healthy.
There's a lot of talk about people jumping teams. There's already talk about Giannis eventually leaving the Bucks.
Yeah.
Does that hurt?
I don't think so. Not in the moment, because I don't think people would not watch Giannis right now, based on where he may be playing next year. I don't think that'll happen. And I think the numbers will come on once the playoffs start.
What are some current interesting NBA storylines?
There's a bunch. I think the top ones I go with. Zion coming back. He's about to. It's about to be in Zion's world for a hot second, and to see what happens with the Pelicans. Once he gets back, if they're going to be one of those teams that starts challenging in the West, we have to watch and pay attention to. The other ones, I think, are the Lakers and the Bucks really as good as their record says that they are.
What do you think?
I think, yes, barring injury to the Lakers. I think no with Milwaukee come playoff time.
What is your NBA Finals prediction?
I'm going to sound crazy by saying this. Lakers, Boston.
That's not that crazy.
I thought you were going to say the Bulls. That would be
hell no. I said the answer was crazy. I didn't say I was crazy. Right.
What do we have to do to fix the Bulls?
Sell the team. It's really quick.
Think that's ever going to happen?
If the fans have the power and use their power for good, to force Reinsdorf.
Which means what? Stop going to games?
Yeah, well, stop investing, and stop making them relevant, stop making them a conversation, stop talking about them. The minute you become irrelevant and you start losing money, it's not just putting ads in the seats. It's not just not going to the United Center. It's like we don't invest in their merchandise. We don't invest in their, watching them on television. We don't talk about them in barbershops. I hate to say it, but in order for that to happen, the Bulls have to be a non-motherfucking factor.
They have that commercial, I don't know if you've seen it, where there's people in a barbershop and there's a Bulls game on, and then they cut to, but they're not even in the commercial, they're not even talking about it.
Right. But that's what has to happen. That's the bottom line. And then, the fans can look, man, until you sell this team, we're not going back in. And we've seen what ownership change can do. Right. We saw it with the Blackhawks. We saw it with the Cubs.
Right.
So the Bears and the Bulls are the 2 ones left. Hopefully, it'll recognize.
You and I, in the past, have talked at times about race. Yeah. Talking about going to sports games, going to games at Wrigley Field or United Center or at Soldier Field. I'm 43, and this just hit me the other day. Not the other day. A couple years ago. I'm a white guy. I go to the game. I take an Uber. The Uber's driven either oftentimes by a black guy or by a like someone from a different country. I go to the game. The person at the front taking my ticket is a minority. The person I order my concessions from is a minority, and I sit in the seats, and all the people around me are white people. Mm-hmm. How should I don't necessarily have a question as much as that's an observation.
Yeah.
What do we do to like change that? What do we do to like mix it up more? So like.
Well, you guess this is a straight down the road thing on economics. The people you're dealing with that are minorities are trying to make money. The people you see at the sport spend money. That's what it boils down to. If you leave the stands and go into the front offices, it's probably whiter than the stands.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you're seeing people on their jobs doing their things, and you could go through the race line and say, the marginal jobs or the disposable jobs, or the jobs that, don't pay a certain amount of money are where I'm going to run into minorities in this country at. But the people that have money, that disposable income, that are making a certain amount of money, they can afford to go to games during the middle of the day. The people that are up in those seats, up in the boxes, and got their offices at that stadium and all that, they're making a lot more money so they don't have to drive Uber. They make a lot of money so they don't have to sell tickets or sell food or do this and the other. So, there's a racial divide economically in this country that is very stark.
So what do we do? Where do we start?
That's a good question.
If you don't know,
look,
that's
no,
okay.
no,
I don't know
no.
either, so.
No.
I'm not expecting you to have the answer.
No. My answer is this. Minorities in this country have been starting for a long time. We've been starting since we set foot here. So you're asking the black person, where do we start? We started a long time ago. You need to ask your people, where do y'all start? Because we started a long time ago. Oh, you all know. You all just don't want to.
So.
Because in wanting to do that, in wanting to really deal with equality down the line where it's really equality, like it's a shared space, it's relinquishing power. And that's the one thing white America is never going to do and never wants to do is relinquish their power to anybody. That's not going to happen. So until there comes a start where it's like, you know what, let's share our power, because in order to have true fairness and equality that we talk about in this country, never had that, we have to relinquish some of this power. Until that happens, then none of this is going to happen. But trust me, every minority in this country has started a long time. The minute we set foot here, whether we came here by our own choice or whether somebody else brought us here, we started the minute we got here.
It seems like now, like most racially based conversations I'm a part of happen on social media. They don't happen in person.
That's the problem with social media.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems with social media. I'm the white guy asking this question when theoretically the white guys have the answers, or at least part of it. How do you?
In my mind, I could be wrong, but that's how I see it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
I can only write.
How do you think we foster? It's so much more comfortable to as a white guy, walk down the street in my little white bubble and not have these kind of conversations.
Right.
Where do we start? How do we do it? I mean, I'm not asking you.
I get what you're saying, but do you want change to come from I'm not asking you specifically. I'm being very generalistic here. Do you want change to come because of the conversation, or do you want to have a conversation for conversation's sake? The one thing I've run into with a lot of white individuals that when we have discussions about race is always about where do we start the dialogue? And I'm like, what do you want out of the dialogue? We've been here for 400 years. We've been talking about this for 400 years. We've been asking for change for 400 years. Every other minority that comes over here is asking for change. So we're having these dialogues. We're talking. We're started this conversation. And I'm not saying that white America's not listening.
You can say that. I think that's
I think they're listening, but they don't want the actual change to come. They just want the dialogue. So if you want to talk for the sake of talking, hey, we could do that.
Right.
But to have a conversation and want to really change, that's a whole different thing. And that's not on us because we're the ones that want change.
Right. I saw so many MLK Day advertisements and posts, and I feel like they all missed the mark. It's like Martin Luther King did not exist so there can be a 15% sale on mattresses. You know, like
but it is nice.
It is nice
because
to
of
get
him.
if
We
you
get
need
the
a mattress,
50%.
you know, you can wait till MLK Day to get a 50% discount. I get that.
15? You said 50?
15.
Depends on where you go.
25
Yeah,
would be nice.
but like, I feel like so many people, and this is on, you know, this is the white caucus. So many people miss the mark when it comes to what that conversation should be about.
Right, but you're asking a country that celebrates holidays celebrates all holidays for something totally against what they mean.
Right.
You know, they have sales for Easter. They have sales for Christmas. We're not sitting around speaking about, you know, the birth of Christ and, you know, what that means to the world and all this, that, and the other. We're trying to sell mattresses, you know, on his birthday. So it's not like Dr. King is any different. This is the way they treat holidays here in this country. We don't go back and get to the root of why we're supposed to celebrate and spend this day doing this.
Right.
So it's, you know, it's not indicative of, it's not an indictment on Dr. King and this country on Dr. King. It's just how we treat holidays. What I think should have been you know, what was missing the mark is why we're not having a conversation about the NFL and the NHL not acknowledging Dr. King when they're still functioning on his birthday. Just because the NBA is 80% black doesn't mean that they should be the only sport in America that celebrates his birthday.
100%, for sure, yeah.
You know, because Dr. King didn't sit out here and do this only for black folks. You know, he did it for every minority just for America. He wanted us to like have some type of equal footing, to have that conversation that we're talking about.
Right.
So that we can live, you know, on this type of land equally. That's what he was all about. So when he gets into sports, you see the NBA celebrating. It's Dr. King Day. We have they celebrate, you know, and honor him in a way where at least his presence is felt. The NHL isn't, you know, even though they have, you know, teams in Canada, it's still an American sport.
Sure.
Why are they off the hook? Why aren't we pushing them? How come you all don't acknowledge? The NFL had their damn Super, you know, Sunday, a day before his holiday. They do nothing.
Right.
Nothing to acknowledge this man.
To be fair, some of those athletes probably did buy mattresses for the 25% off from Martin Luther King Day.
That's true too.
Yeah.
That's true too.
Allen Iverson in his prime was better than Derrick Rose in his prime.
True.
Two-parter, LeBron versus Jordan is a tired argument. Two, because Mark Madsen is the greatest of all time.
False. Not because of that, but because Brian Scalabrine is better than Mark Madsen.
Okay, gotcha. Basketball players who dominated in the 80s and 90s would dominate the same way today.
True.
The current Bulls would be better if they had better players.
False.
They wouldn't be better if they had better players?
False.
Okay. The current Bulls would be better if they had better coaches.
That's true, but it's a half true. It's a half true. They need a player development program.
Okay.
And I don't know if that falls in line with the coaching situation.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Gar packs aren't as bad as at their jobs as everyone thinks they are.
They aren't as bad. That's true.
Okay. The current demise of the Warriors is bad for basketball.
True.
NBA ratings are down because the league is soft.
False.
Michael Jordan would have taken load management days if he played in this era.
At what age?
32.
True, he would have taken.
He would have taken
He
it?
would have taken.
Okay, but he wouldn't have at 28?
No, hell no, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all, not at all.
The greatest NBA coach of all time is Phil Jackson.
Oh, my God. False. I should have said that a lot quicker. False.
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 Who is?
Chuck Daly.